Greetings. This is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central on another beautiful day in paradise. Yes, another beautiful day in paradise. Another beautiful day in real life. Another beautiful day in my mind. Another beautiful day in the virtual reality. Yes. All right, so I hope y'all ready because we're getting ready to take it to another level here. We're returning to our book, The Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, by his second wife, Amy Jacques Garvey. And it's all Garvey's words and thoughts, but she is the person who gathered them together and edited them. And you always need that. You need those two hands working together, because when you have somebody who's active like Garvey, they frequently do not have time to sit down and try to write their memoirs or recollect and go back and go down memory lane and all of those kind of things. So if you didn't get it when they were here, you missed it. Yes, and that happens so frequently, it's not even funny. And we're trying to avoid that over here, which is why we're building a black archive. We call it the Crosby Archive, for lack of a better name at this point. But that's a working name. It could change later. But that's what we have here. And so you see behind me some of the materials that we have in the Crosby Archives. But the archives are much deeper than that. We could find a little pamphlet here that would have more knowledge in it than any freshman entry-level course in your local college. That's right. We're bringing you some knowledge you can't even get up in a college. But in the meanwhile, let's go ahead and get this party started today. First things first, go ahead and give us a like if you're watching on Facebook. Give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. And last but not least, go ahead and spread the word far and wide. By word of mouth is excellent to the east, the west, the north, and the south. Spread it all around town, if you don't mind, that Black Facts is here and we're getting down. And so that's what we're getting ready to do right here. Let's see what we got here today for words of wisdom from Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Let's see what kind of words of wisdom he has to share with us today. Okay. Well, this is an interesting one here. It says something about us. Oh, no, but this is the one I'm going to read here. Okay. No one knows when the hour of Africa's redemption cometh. It is in the wind. It is coming. One day, like a storm, it will be here. When that day comes, all Africa will stand together. I repeat, no one knows when the hour of Africa's redemption cometh. It is in the wind. It is coming. One day, like a storm, it will be here. When that day comes, all Africa will stand together. So there we have it. That was a good one because it went right along with my description of today's presentation. And I picked out a piece I think that we're continuing to read here. Yeah, we're continuing to read here. Let me see. Thought we hadn't finished this one yet then. Okay, and let me just go back here and see how this one started off. But that says, no, we finished that yesterday. I remember that. I thought I didn't move apparently I didn't move my dealy-do there. Okay, and I read that one there too. All right. All right, so I thought I'd picked out another segment, but apparently I didn't mark it. So let's see what we can pick out for today. And actually, this one was interesting right here. I'm going to read this one right here. Okay. This one we're going to read here. Yesterday, we were at the, we took a trip over to the Center of Pan-African Culture here in Kent, Ohio. And it's a cultural center that was established back in 1968 for black students at Kent State University. Well, for the black community in this surrounding area, because it's been utilized by people on and off campus. And there's a picture there, which I don't have access to right at this moment, but there's a picture there of Malcolm X being assassinated. And we were talking with the young lady that is now the new director of the Center of Pan-African Culture, and she was telling us what her feelings when she looks at that painting, and she had some very interesting feelings about it. I don't know that I got it down on got it recorded. I thought I was, but you know, sometimes things go wrong. But the thing that I thought about is the relationship between that painting and the story of Jesus. Some people call him Jesus. Some people call him Yeshua or Yahshua. So this one is a speech by Marcus Garvey. It's called Christ the Great Reformer. Christ the Great Reformer. And I'm pretty sure I haven't read this. Yeah. No, wait a minute. Yeah, this was the last one I read was on that was for Easter. So yeah, I haven't read this one before. But apparently Garvey liked to talk about Jesus a lot, because this is like the second or third one I've seen in here so far. And he's making these relationships between the trials and travails of Jesus Christos and the black man of his time. And I think we can still make some of those relationships right about now. So this one is called Christ the Greatest Reformer. A speech delivered at Liberty Hall, New York, USA, December 24, 1922. When man had fallen in sin. When man had fallen in sin from his spiritual kinship to his creator, and disgust reigned even in heaven among the angels and the Holy One, who brought out of chaos the great universe. There sprang up divine sympathy, divine love, a sympathy and love within the Trinity. A sympathy and love within the Trinity caused the Son of God to vouchsafe himself as the Redeemer of mankind, as the Redeemer of the world. He betook to himself, with the authority of his Father, the duty, the work, the labor, the sacrifice to bring man near to his Creator, to bring man near to his God. The angels on that first Christmas morn notified the world that the Christ was to be born. He did not of himself He did not of himself come down in his spiritual image from the heaven on high, but for the purpose of drawing himself near man. He took on the flesh and was born of a virgin woman. And in that stable at Bethlehem, the whole world, through the message of the angels, was told of the great happening, and men journeyed from far and near to see the Christ. To some, his birth was a disappointment because he was born lowly. He was born amid poor conditions and circumstances. He was not born of the reigning household. He was born only of a carpenter and humble laborer. And therefore, to many, his birth was a disappointment. The prophets foretold the birth of Christ. The prophets foretold the birth of the Redeemer, and men were looking for him everywhere. The race to which he was to be born expected a Redeemer in pomp and glory, and when he came in a manger, they were disappointed. They were disgusted, and they denied him as the Christ. They said he was not the Christ. He was not the promised one. He was not the Son of God. He was an impostor. But others who had faith believed that he was the Christ. And the lowly babe that was born to us in the sinful world 1922 years ago grew up again amidst the surroundings of prejudice, amidst the surroundings of disgust and dissatisfaction, to take on his work, to perform his labor as the Christ, as the Redeemer of man, as the Redeemer of the world. Christ as a living example to man. The man who took on flesh, physical as ours, moved among us, even as we go about our daily business and occupation today. They could not believe that he was the Son of God. But in him there was that which no man knew, which no man had in him. There was a spotless soul, was a spotless character, never yet known to the world beyond the Christ in all God's creation. There never came into the world a character like Jesus, pure, spotless, immaculate, divine, like unto God, as God would have each of us to be. When God created man and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, when God gave to man a living soul, God expected that man would live the spiritual life of the Christ. And when man sinned, when man fell from grace, God became disgusted. God became dissatisfied. If we could see the sufferings of Christ, if we could see the patience of Christ, if we could see the very crucifixion of Christ, then we would see the creature, the being, spiritual, that God would have us be. And knowing ourselves as we do, we could well realize how far we are from God. For man to see his God, for man to face his judgment and become one of the elect of the high divine of the Holy One, is for man to live the life of the Christ, the spotless life, the holy life, the life without sin. And that is a journey that everyone in the Christian world is called upon to make. If we cannot make it, we cannot expect to see our God. Man has fallen so low. Man has fallen so far from his high estate as created and given him by God, that even now man does not know himself except in the physical. But the physical does not make the mind complete. Man is part physical as well as part spiritual. The physical life we live here to our satisfaction. The spiritual life we give to God when he calls us. And how many of us in the world today, if called for the spiritual life, will give that life as spotless as Jesus by his example taught? When we look at the world today, we think of sin, we think of injustice, of iniquity, a world where man, because of his strength, because of his advantage, abuses the rights of his brother. When we look upon the oceans of injustice that are placed in the path of the weak, how much must we not realize the far distance that we are from God and the far distance that we are from the man Christ, who tried to teach us the life by which we should see salvation, the life that he came to redeem. His doctrine rejected by the classes. Christ brought a mission to the world. It was that of love to all mankind, that which taught man to love his brother, to be charitable. And when he taught that doctrine, after he had assumed the form of manhood, what did the world do to him? The world derided him. The world scoffed at him. They called him all kinds of names. He was an impostor. He was a disturber of the public peace. He was not fit to be among good society. He was an outcast. He was a traitor to the king. That is what they said of Jesus. When he went out about teaching and preaching to men the way of salvation, pointing them to the light by which they would see their heavenly Father. And even though he was the Son of God, even though he had power from on high, even though he worked miracles to prove that he was not only an ordinary man, they did not believe him and they did not heed him. The very people among whom he was born, the very people whom probably he loved most, were the people who cried out for the destruction and the death of this man. And even though he was the Christ, the Son of God, he could not save himself from the dissatisfied rebels of his day and of his time. He went about Jerusalem. He went about the holy places, teaching the multitude. He appealed to the masses of the people to save them from their sins. And when the masses attempted to hear him, when the masses indicated that they would follow him, the classes who always rule said that he was a disturber of the peace. We cannot allow this man to travel at large, disturbing the peace of the community. This man threatens the power of the state. Therefore, we must imprison him. We must place him out of the way so that he will not teach these people this new doctrine, the doctrine of love, the doctrine of human brotherhood, and the doctrine of equality. The character of man. For man is a character if man is not anything else. Christ was the first great reformer. Christ did not go exclusively to the classes. He devoted his life to all. The classes rejected him because he was not born of high birth, of high parentage, because he was not born in their immediate circle. He was not born of the physical blood royal. Therefore, they could not follow such a man. His doctrine is unsound, and he is receiving the plaudits of the people. He is getting the sympathy of the crowd. Can we allow it? And the answer was no. And even the Son of God, not man only, but the Son of God, was sought by the classes who have always held down the masses because of his teaching for the spiritual glory, if not the physical, of the people whom he loved. And so while we commemorate the birth of the Christ today, we must bear in mind the sufferings. He underwent the agony. He underwent for the purpose of carrying out completely his mission, the mission that brought him down from heaven to earth. Christ came to a sinful world. The world rejected him. And even at the last hour, after he had preached for years to the people, after he had aroused the suspicion and the curiosity of the masses of his time, when he was about to leave the world, he had not even 12 men, not even 12 men who were honest enough to profess the faith. He had not made 12 faithful converts. And he was the Son of God. This is what we believe. That proves to you the state of man's mind. That proves to you the character of man. And man has not changed much since Christ was here. If he has changed, he has done so for the worse. And that brings me to the thought, whether if Christ should come back to the world today, in what way would he be received? If Christ were to return to the world today, born in the same lowly state, born of the same humble parentage, and attempted to preach the same redemption, he would be imprisoned. He would be executed. He would be crucified in the 20th century, even as he was crucified 1900 years ago on Mount Calvary. Man has not changed much. Now, that's a Christmas sermon. Yeah, we can go. Y'all celebrate Christmas. That's a Christmas sermon right there. Matter of fact, I'm thinking of memorizing that one and reciting that for Christmas this year, because that one, that's powerful stuff right there. And truer words have never been spoken. Truer words have never been spoken. If God Almighty would return in the flesh right now today, guaranteed, we'd be talking about hashtag. Okay, he'd end up becoming the next hashtag, because for sure the system would not allow for him to be preaching, for people to be thinking and feeling for each other. Even if he was preaching a gospel of love thy neighbor as thyself, he would be crucified on the corner forthwith. It wouldn't take long. They'd do him like Fannie Lou Hamer, put him in a jail cell and make his own brothers and sisters beat him with knobbed straps. They would do him just like that. And the people would turn against him. They would turn their backs on him in order to please the system and the purveyors of the system. Guaranteed. Yeah, heavy stuff from Marcus Garvey. I see why he had such a following now. Yeah, I've heard him speak before, but sometimes it's hard to follow him based on his accent. It was somewhat thick, and for our ears, it's only thick for our ears because our ears are not used to hearing him pronounce his words the way that he does. So when I'm reading him, I'm taking on his character, and I read it to some extent the way he would have read it, but hopefully I'm reading it much clearer so that you all can understand every single word that comes from my mouth. So, without a doubt, this is Doc Ock at noon and 9, signing off. I will be black tonight with more from Blake or the Huts of America, where we read about the thoughts of a man they said was a slave, but who denied his enslavement to the last. No matter what, at all cost, he denied his enslavement. And so shall it be. A man is, as a man thinketh, so shall he be. And this man, Henry, I don't know where Blake comes in, but so far Henry is denying his enslavement in total against his the wishes of his the massa, Colonel Franks. So another very interesting story from the mind of Martin R. Delaney. So make sure to catch us at 9. We're going to sign off now. Don't forget to give us a like if you're watching on Facebook, a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, and then go ahead and subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts channel. I noticed some of you yesterday were giving me a thumbs up on Facebook, but I really am looking for a thumbs up on YouTube. Go to our YouTube channel, Tubular Black Facts. That's Tubular. That's where you'll find us. Tubular Black Facts. BLAKFACTS. That's where you're going to find the best. And you can go ahead and put it to the test, but you'll get the full picture because you'll see all the imagery that we're putting together with our words. Okay, we've got words and images we're putting together, and we're in the process of starting to add in video as well. So we've got more in store for you here, as we say, Tuta Onana to Ndugu Solomon over there, Rafiki Wangu. Peace out without a doubt, y'all. Of course, with justice, because anything less disgusts us.